Chapter 9. Good thing Manuel was a boy, and he was also a bit thin for his age. "You have to eat more, boy," his mother said ever so often to him. If he had been a grown-up, he would never have fit into the corridors and smaller rooms of the labyrinth. Although the surroundings were gigantic for rabbit standards, even a small human like Manuel had difficulties advancing at certain spots. On his knees and elbows, the boy managed to get along fairly well, though. With every meter that he went on, he carefully unraveled some of the kite string. He only hoped that the ball held enough of it. "Luka! Are you in here, somewhere? Luka!" he called again and again, but there was no answer. Then Manuel heard something. It was a bodiless sound, remote at first, then pretty close to him, and then almost inaudible. A melody sung by a delicate and fragile voice. It was SALADIA'S song. Manuel was actually the first and last human who was ever to hear this song. He closed his eyes and simply listened. The melody touched something deep, deep inside of Manuel's heart, and he started to cry. All of a sudden, he had to think of his father who had died when Manuel still was so little, and he thought of his mother who had to work so hard that they could hardly spend any time together. Manuel completely lost track of the time while he was listening to the song. He forgot all that was around him, but somehow he nevertheless was moving on and forward through the labyrinth and further into it, driven not by his intellect, but by something that lay way beneath and beyond his conscious mind. Eventually, Manuel opened his eyes again, and he found himself lying in a very big hall. He was huddled together on the floor, with his arms and legs drawn closely to his body, like an embryo. His face was wet from tears. And all of a sudden, Manuel became aware of the fact that he and his mother had never ever yet really been talking about his father's death. Manuel started to ponder. I think she's still very sad that Dad isn't there anymore. And she works so much that she doesn't have to think of how much she misses him. And she doesn't want to talk with me about it because she thinks that I would become sad too. Manuel felt the sudden urge to run to his mother, to hug her, and to finally speak with her about all those things that were churning inside the both of them. No, halt. First, I'll have to find Luka. Manuel had uttered these words aloud and thereby interrupted his train of thoughts. Hummed a drowsy voice that originated somewhere to the left of Manuel. Who was saying Luka there? Manuel reached out his hand slowly in the direction where the voice had sounded. His fingers touched something furry. Luka! It's you! Holy moly, I found you! Manuel cried happily and hugged the sleepy rabbit. Manuel? Asked Luka unbelievingly. How did you get here? And Manuel told his friend everything that had happened, beginning with his mother's accident and her broken leg, continuing with his own search for Luka and his encounter with Luka's mother. But now you are here too. Now we are doomed, stammered Luka. Ha! Not at all we are, Manuel replied confidently and showed the rabbit the ball of kite string in his hand. With that, we'll find our way out of here. Come on. Just a moment, Luka said. I'd like to take something with me. Could you carry it for me, please? I've tried to, but I always drop it. Manuel looked flabbergasted and amazed at the thing that Luka held between his front paws. "You found it. You found Saladia's ring." "You know the legend of Saladia?" the rabbit asked, perplexed. "Your mum told it to me," Manuel replied, "but I'll explain all of that when we are out of here. Your mum is worried sick for you." And so the boy and the rabbit started to make their way out, always following the kite string, out of the labyrinth, into that both of them first had to venture into in order to finally find each other again.